Hey, Note Nation. Hope you're doing well. Today's Wednesday, right? Wednesday afternoon. I know I've been out of pocket the last couple days, Monday and Tuesday, because I have been here in the city of brotherly love, home to the team in the NFL that we will not name because we're Dallas Cowboy fans. But been here at Podcast Movement 2018. It's the fifth year they've had this conference. It's the first time for me to attend. And, there's about 1,200, 1,500 digital entrepreneurs here who run different podcasts or vendors for podcasts. I have to give a big shout out to Dan Zitawski. Big Dan is here as well, learning he's getting ready to do his podcast launch. Our buddy Tom Hazard, who produces our podcast along with Dan and a few other people's, he's here. And our buddy Chris K from Podfest Expo is also here. So there's some good friends here. Right into John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneurs on Fire. I was with him for a few minutes, caught up with him. And then just a few other people that we're running into. And it's just nice to be at an event that is we're learning at. We have, of course, Stephanie Goodman is here as well. So give them a big shout out. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Steph.
Hi, Steph. Great. Smart. Okay. Smart ass. Hey, Landon. Hey, Laura. But, we thought we'd end up getting an episode yesterday. Just didn't get around to it because it was basically an all-day thing. Monday was a travel day. After a very busy weekend, we had a great virtual workshop, and then of course Sunday we unfortunately had to let the note dog put her to sleep. So yeah, not exciting at all Sunday night. But I want to give a big shout out to all the hundreds of people that sent condolences our way. So thank you. We know that Princess is running in on a beach somewhere in Never Never Land, and we'll see her again at some point. But the beautiful thing is here, guys. Good afternoon, Cedric. Good afternoon, Laura. Good afternoon to Landon. If you're out there watching this, give me a shout out. We'll give you some love back to you. But one of the great things about coming to an event like this that you're learning is you learn different tricks. You lift different tools. Hey, Bud, how's it going, Bud Salmon? And that's one of the biggest things about me coming to an event like this. I like going to events where I can learn from other experts, other peers. And we celebrated another milestone today, actually, about 9 a.m. this morning. The podcast went over 125,000 downloads, which is exciting, in our first 11 months, which is just absolutely mind-blowing for us. And finding out that actually we're quite a bit ahead of other people who have been doing this for a while, or talking to people that are doing, maybe got 50,000 downloads in their first 3 years. And they have a bigger market than such a tiny niche as note investing, because that's one of the big things that we have learned from other real estate podcasters that are here, people in apartments, people that are doing fix and flips, wholesaling, is we actually, Note Nation is a smaller niche, but we're hitting it better with everybody because the fact is that we market on a regular basis. We market out pretty substantially, obviously you guys know this, with the podcasts and the webinars and Note Night in America. And there was one episode today talking about doing live broadcasts, how it would 4X your business. And I'm like, it would do more than 4X. It's going to literally 10X it. And I was talking to the speaker afterwards. She's like, oh, yeah, if you're doing a live broadcast, a webinar, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, video and LinkedIn, you're going to see it probably a 12X type of growth to your audience, as long as you are original. Unfortunately, a lot of people go out there and they recycle the same thing over and over again. And they get upset that they don't have any success. It's because they're not separating themselves from the rest of the tribe. They're not separating themselves from the rest of the noise out there. And there's noise out there. Trust me, we put up a lot of noise. And but that was refreshing to hear that, A, we're doing a pretty good job. And we have to give a big shout out to all our listeners, all our Note family, our guests, the guest hosts, our speakers that are on here. And then, but most importantly, you guys and gals out there that listen to it in Note Nation. So big shout out to all of you for doing that. And we look forward, because we've got some cool things that we'll be rolling out over the next couple of weeks. One of the things, 125K. Wow. Yeah. It's that's just on the download side, Laura Blunt. We look at, and you know me, I like to track everything. If you add in our Facebook Live views, along with our views on YouTube, along with our views on Vimeo.com, that's another 135,000 views there alone. Okay. Thanks, Brady. We are the 50,000 watt blowtorch, is more like it. Congrats to both of you. Well, it's if anything, I can tell you this is to be consistent. The only way we got to where we're at is consistent. Yes, we have done 300 some odd Facebook Lives. We've got 164 podcast episodes. Some of them are in the works, but it's consistency. And it goes back, honestly, to April 24th, 2011, when I started doing webinars. Okay, you look at that. That's over 8 years of doing webinars. Not always consistently every week in, week out, but still 8 years of doing it on a regular basis to build an audience. And all of you are out there looking to build an audience of some sort of either investors, people to buy your stuff, or to partner with you on different things. And the biggest thing I can tell you is just be consistent. The other underlying track to this last couple of days as I'm out talking with people is people taking action, and then those that are waiting to take action. And you don't want to wait to take action. People that don't have a defined date, they don't have, they don't have things rocking and rolling for them because they're just not, I don't know, they're scared of their own shadow. They don't know where to begin. And that was kind of prevalent today in the broadcasting thing with this lady. What was Jenny's last name? Steph McClure. Jenny McClure today was a speaker, and she's on lifestyle broadcasts, and like cooking shows or things like that. So it's a totally different niche. But we were literally eye contact, and I would talk to her afterwards after the show. So I went to her and say, "Hey, it was a great presentation." She's like, "Oh, thank you so much. You and I were like this." I look back over and you're sitting there waving your head. I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." But it's so simple these days of using your smartphone, using Facebook Live, using Instagram TV, using LinkedIn for video. The big thing I can tell you is just share what's going on. Share the good, the bad, the ugly of what's going out there, and you'll be surprised at the amount of success you have and the amount of people that you come across. Because we're excited here. Now, some people ask, well, Scott, why would you go to an event like this if you're doing well so far? Well, we never know who you're going to run into. Ran into a couple great people. Mike, I'm just calling him because I can't pronounce it. The author of Profit First night, met him here. He's going to be on the podcast in the next couple of weeks, which is exciting because it's a great book, an absolutely great author that all of you will get a lot out of. We talked to another person who's got a book coming out for Bigger Pockets Real Estate, and they're glad to be on the show. And so adding guests to our show that add value to your guys' lives is why we are here, why we are showing up on a regular basis, why we continue to do this day in, day out, to literally help you guys overcome any obstacles you have, to help you, hopefully that you realize that if you have questions or need help, you can pick up the phone or drop a message or drop an email. And so what I want to kind of go through is, what is your guys' biggest hurdle when it comes to doing a video? What's your guys' biggest hurdles for those that aren't doing videos on a regular basis or haven't done a video at all about their business? What are some of the hurdles? Is it, oh, I don't want to be in front of camera? That's fine. You don't have to be in front of the camera. You could talk about the assets you're working on. You could talk about the case studies. You could show sun rising. Okay. When you learn, we learn. Brady says, yes, but learning is different than just learning. You learn more by doing than you ever by just listening to me. Okay. And Brady's doing some great stuff with some webinars. Brady, I would encourage you to do them fresh. All right. And I have to give a big shout out and thank you again. You give a great little testimonial video on Facebook Live the other night about our workshop. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you in Dallas. I feel like I know you already, but it'll be nice to hang out with you at the Quest Expo a little bit, get a chance to know you some. And then also at the Propelio meetup groups. But the thing I can tell you guys is so powerful these days. And I'm seeing people do some amazing things out there and running on no budgets, 0 budgets. We're pretty lucky. We've got some sponsors, and we have some great, sponsors with Quest IRA and Lawful and Associates and Madison and a few others out there that help us out with things. But honestly, you guys can be doing amazing things that you can have your own niche within a niche. That's one thing Dan Zitawski and I are talking about. Dan's talking about doing the lifestyle stuff, or kind of like the life and air aspect of what he wants to do with his podcast and grow it. He doesn't want to do the nuts and bolts. He goes, there's enough people doing nuts and bolts. I want to get the nuts out of the heads. And so that's a great idea. The thing you keep in mind, just start doing it though. And that's one of the biggest things I think people struggle with is, okay, this can take a lot of time. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time. I committed to doing this episode in the 20 minutes between myself, where we're at here, and Steph checking us in for tomorrow night's flight. Right, Steph? Indeed, exactly. Okay. And so Laura says something here. content. My biggest hurdle is content, which I get is an excuse, not a reason. Thank you for sharing, Laura. So let's talk about content, because somebody else mentioned that today. Somebody who's here, who's doing apartments and fix and flips, they're talking about content. I'm like, listen, how many note deals have you bought, Laura? Okay. You've got some note deals that are working through, right? You closed on 6 or 7. You had a couple from a few months back. So you got like, what, 10, 11 or so notes? Each one of those notes can be a case study. Each one of those notes can be talking a video for you. It can be, hey, here's what we did. Now, I would give a big shout out to Bill Griesmeyer. Bill was doing some educational stuff on dry erase board. I'm like, Bill, you got to go close more note deals. And sure enough, he took some coaching and went out, made a couple of videos on 2 assets. Actually, it turned out good because I think Laura was bidding on one of those assets. Okay. So there you go. Laura says 8 closed, 8 working. That's 16 case studies. That's 16 little videos. And we're not talking, you don't have to have a 60 minutes episode on each episode or each asset, but 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Little things like that will work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to share with what you're doing, but it's going to get the word out to your database. It's going to get a word out online to people that maybe don't identify with me, they don't identify Dan, they don't identify with Brady or Bud, but they identify with you. And that's the beautiful thing is people identify with so many different faces out there. And actually the ladies out there, there is a big need. There's actually, we found out today that here at this event, it's 51% men, 49% women. And actually only 1 out of every 4 podcasts is woman-based. It's 75% men doing production, okay? And it was kind of crazy. Actually, I'm going to share some stats with you. Where's my bag at? Hang on. I thought you guys would enjoy some of these stats, which was kind of surprising to me. So if they surprise me, they're basically going to really surprise you. So this was really good. Okay. So the average number of downloads per attendee episode is that 21% of those that have a podcast episode get less than 100 downloads. Okay. 100 to 1,000, 43% of those here are getting 1,000 or less downloads per episode. 1,000 to 5,000 on average is 20%, and then 5 to 10,000 is 5%. 10,000 to 50,000 is 5%, and over 50,000 is 5%. So there's some definitely images or things there that hit. Now, of course, you have a longer running podcast, you'll get more episodes as that's sitting around and people binge your stuff. But literally, 64%, almost 2/3, are getting less than 1,000 downloads per episode. That's niche. That is a niche of an audience if you've ever seen one, right? There are people in 50 states and 20 countries from here, and they're represented. There's over 2,000 expected attendees. Here's what they said. But literally, the biggest thing is business is 19%. Second is society and culture. Is that so? Hashtag life of a note investor could be another one. Then third is health and third is education. Fourth is health and fitness, and those are all. Basically, everything else is like 2%, 3%. But those are the top 4 sections that are brought up. But the thing that you have to keep in mind is you're not competing against me. You're not competing against anybody else. You're literally just competing against yourself. There's some big names. There's NPR here. There's iHeartRadio. Nielsen is here. There's some different guys from some bigger shows that are here across the board, ESPN and some stuff like that. I'm not competing against those guys, like those gals. I have our niche that we compete against ourselves. And honestly, that's the biggest thing people always find it surprising is what gets us up to do it every day almost every day. And it's just my drive to deliver content, to stay in touch with my audience. And that's literally started 9 months before we ever started the podcast, was literally how am I going to stay in touch with my tribe, the people that love me, the people that encourage me. I'm not worried about the people that dislike me. You're going to have enough people that dislike you regardless of who you are, what you do, no matter what your skin, your race, your sex, what you look like. People are going to hate you no matter what. The thing you got to keep in mind is you're going to just add content. You're going to add stuff, and people are going to either absorb things differently from, say, Laura Blanc or from Brady than they would from me. Brady, you being in the military, past military, retired from the military, that's a whole different niche than most people have. Okay, that's a whole different niche. Okay, and there's actually people here looking for women note investors, women real estate investors, because they want to have them on their podcast. So, but that's the big thing. You never know who you're going to run into. So Landon asked a question here. Sorry, Scott, a bit off topic. Do you know anyone who will loan on my notes? I've got a little over 40 of them. And by loaning on your notes, that's too diverse. Are these owner finance notes that you've originated? And if they are, how long of seasoning do they have? Owner finance, or are they wraparound mortgages, Landon? What are they, buddy? Anyway, give me a little more information versus just I've got 40 notes. Okay, I'm sure there are owner finance notes in Houston, and I'm willing to bet on that. But anyway, just going back to taking action is one of the biggest things. I have to give a big shout out to Mike Jordan. Yes is not a direct answer. Yes, they're owner financed or newly originated or wraparound. I asked like 4 questions there, Landon. Big shout out to Mike Jordan. Okay, he took action and literally kicked butt with it and got some tape sent to him already from this last weekend. He got a property in Detroit, another one in Texas, and then some other assets other places. Okay, so Landon, are you wanting to sell these off for cash flow or sell partials or just get a loan against them? There's not much seasoning. Well, give me an idea as far as how much in seasoning. Are we talking less than 6 months? They're owner finance. Yes, I get that. Thank you. I get it. Honestly, if they're owner finance, I know that you created them. Thank you. I know that you want a loan. I get that. How much in seasoning do they have, my friend? You can do a hypothecation, less than a year. Brady, if you've got it all on a spreadsheet, why don't you send that spreadsheet over to me? I'll run it by a couple guys and see if we can't come up with something for you. How's that sound? All right. If you got the credit scores of the borrowers too, by any chance, that's going to help. All right. All the details of the loan, when it was originated, how much they put down, property value, roughly, the address, FICO score, if you've got it as well. We can see about a hypothecation, or somebody might be willing to buy a partial on some of these as well. Okay. And we can go from there. All right. But that's an important thing to keep in mind. It's on something like that, less than a year. Hopefully you got some, it makes, having that information is going to determine less than a year. Some people are doing, if they put a sizable down payment down, that'll be helpful. So instead of just talking about theoretics, we can go and try something else for you. But we are doing something a little bit different as well. One of the things that actually I have to give Dan Zitawski a bit of a thing, kind of a slap in the back. He was saying some of these things we're talking about and some of the things we're sharing with him marketing-wise. He was like, Scott, you really need to teach another marketing class. And so one of the things that we've decided to do literally just a few minutes ago, right, Steph, was I'm going to be starting a 30-day marketing blitz training, okay? And, you're welcome, Landon. Glad to help you out. So we're doing a marketing blitz training. It's been a while since we had this. We've done some different marketing blitzes the last few years, but technology has been changing so much, but I think it's time to do one. So literally kicking off August 1st is our marketing blitz. What we'll do is it's a 30-day, Monday through Friday thing, less marketing lesson delivered to your inbox, okay? And I got the link up there, bit.ly/marketing blitz, where the M and the B are capitalized. It's on your screen there, bit.ly/marketing blitz. Should take you to Infusionsoft. Like I said, 30 days, forms. We're keeping the group small to only 30 people because I'm really going to do some deep dives into some people's profiles for them, and really looking forward to this. Cost us $5.99 to play. Like I said, you get replays of the videos, a daily lesson, and us really doing a deep dive to help everybody that's going through that with one form or fashion. We'll be focusing on social media, marketing, CRM, some of your email service providers, and some things helping you get things out, but helping you raise more capital, helping you close more deals, and literally, making more money ultimately with your marketing, but literally helping you take it to a whole different level. So we're only doing this for 30 people. I think 6 or 7 of them are signed up already. We're only doing 30 spots available. If you click on the link and it takes you to an empty link, just clear your cache and click on the link again, and it should refresh it for you. But pretty stoked about that. bit.ly/marketing blitz with a capital M and a capital B, no space in between. Kicks off August 1st. Pretty stoked about this. I put a list together, some things that I want to focus on and some really cool stuff. And yes, I'm going to give you guys some really cool tricks of the trade that we do that will probably blow your mind and literally kind of walk you through step by step on some of these things. So if you don't know internet, you're not good with a computer, this is not for you. Okay, you got to be a little bit savvy and understand how to use your computer, because I'm not going to sit there, okay, you need to hit this button. All right, but we will walk you through quite a bit of the stuff, and I think you're going to love it. So it's $5.99. It's well worth it. It's going to be online, Laura, so you don't have to worry about traveling anywhere. It's going to be me teaching a lesson each day and sending a lesson out, a video out to you, and then we'll probably do a follow-up webinar for everybody at least once a week to kind of do a recap. Okay, did you try this? Do you have questions about this? Or me walking you back through it live, again, is what we're looking for. So 30 video lessons and then a couple webinars, live webinars of Q&A, and helping you guys that are still stumbling over, hey, how do we get this rock and roll? But it's going to build on each other, so that's the beautiful thing. No, we're not going to do any videos on books or anything like that, but we're going to break some stuff down for you that I think is going to get a lot of you that go, the 30 of you that decide to go through this, you're going to be like just guns blazing the next 6 months, and that's what we want. We're going to do some pre-scheduling, pre-marketing, and see where you guys go in the next 90 days and then the next 6 months as well. So the link there, once again, bit.ly/marketing blitz, and get your rocking and rolling from there as well. So pretty stoked about that. Literally, we're going to roll this out. Like I said, August 1st is when it starts, and we can get rock and rolling. Hang on a second if it doesn't work. I got somebody just sent me a message here. But trying to get signed up for it and it's giving an error. It's probably just that they need to clear the cache out. So, but we're just jacked up about that. So excited about that. We'll be talking about doing some webinars for you guys for your specific thing. We'll be talking about how to leverage some of your time with some easy tools that will help you really walk into an event and walk out with a sizable number more of contacts than just 1 or 2 business cards, and literally how to leverage those into some really cool marketing going forward for you. So that's one of the big things we're excited about. Some of the things I learned from this weekend, like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. And this will help everybody in our tribe or those that are really serious about getting some marketing help. It'll help them as well. So once again, I got the link up there, bit.ly/marketing blitz, capital M, capital B, as it shows. Guys and gals, I tell you, when I come to one of these events, it's always nice because I walk out of here recharged. If you thought I talked fast already, wait till you see me at home once we start implementing some of these things. So we here tomorrow, and then we fly out tomorrow to Vegas for our Note boardroom. We're really excited about Paul Cooper. We got a few other people. They're going to be there, join us for 2 days in hot Las Vegas for our Note boardroom training. Just stoked up. I got some really good stuff. Small group. They're going to walk out with just their mouths are going to be stretched from drinking from a fire hydrant for 2 days. And I've got some cool stuff lined up for them. And I won't share with it here because they paid for that great stuff. They're going to just absolutely love it. So stoked about that. Things are rocking and rolling here, guys. But biggest aha moment I can say from spending the weekend here with so many other digital entrepreneurs or podcasters is the consistency is what separates most people. I've they had Pat Flynn, who's a big podcaster from the Passive Income podcast, millions of downloads, and it's just a matter of staying consistent. He's been doing it for 8 years. John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneurs on Fire, millions of downloads, just being consistent. Less is sometimes more, where these guys are doing 15-minute episodes, doing consistently 15-minute episodes and getting 4 downloads an hour is great. I don't know if 15 minutes would be long enough for me to talk, especially with some of our guests. All right. I fill it up pretty fast. I know I'm a little bit long-winded. But anyway, guys, once again, like I said, Guys, if you do have some owner finance loans you're looking to sell, you got some season on it, 6 months or so, feel free to drop me an email. We'd be glad to reach out to one of our note brokers who's looking to buy some stuff, and we'd be glad to see what we can get you for you. See what we can get, either partial or full buyout on those notes, and then go from there. But once again, guys, just jacked up. It's always nice to come to an event, hang out, and kind of not be the smartest person in the room, or be doing something that's a little bit different than pure note investing, okay? Can I share 3 Eureka moments from this weekend? Eureka. All right, ready there. 3 Eureka moments. It's easier than ever to do video, okay? That's one of the biggest things that's not a surprise. 2, second thing is just getting out and networking. The podcast community, I thought the note space was very friendly. It's almost surprising the podcast community might be a little friendlier, huh, Steph?
It is. It really is. There's more of a collaborative feel, and this is sort of new to so many of us. Let's work together to figure out how we can build it. And it's not such a huge competition because everybody does something different.
Everybody has their own niche and their own lane they're staying into. So that was the biggest thing from networking and stuff like that. Very friendly. I mean, we realized that at Podfest Expo back in Orlando.
Even more so, I think. And then that was just because it was a group of people.
Come on, say hi.
Oh, sorry. Now you got me talking.
Got her talking.
It was a group of people that they'd known each other for a few years. So it was kind of like when we get together for masterminds or expos or things like that. And hey, my brother from another mother, I've seen you, da, da, da. So they collaborate and they work together, and it's really cool. It's a nice thing. But they also, it seems like a lot of their podcasts are geared around passions and hobbies. Whereas for us, it just so happens that real estate is a passion and a hobby, but it's a hobby you can monetize. And for them, some of them just do it because they want to get out there and talk about their ideas or passions. You know, there was a podcast out here that it was things you forgot from history class or things you didn't pick up from history class, which sounds really cool. So there's so many different kinds out there.
Big Dan on his way back there, give us a thumbs up. Hey, Dan, glad hanging with you the last couple of days, my friend. Always good to visit with you. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Dan took away a lot from here at Podfest, or not Podfest, Podcast Movement. That wasn't the cheapest ticket. It was like $5.99. And I had the VIP ticket, which is kind of nice, came in handy. But next one will be in August of next year down in Orlando as well. So Orlando, exactly. No.
Wait. Hold on a second. Did you say next August?
Yes.
In Orlando?
Yes.
August in Orlando?
Yeah, I know.
How about that?
Yeah, I know. Dan says, great event. Love blowing my mind and hanging with you, brother. Anytime you can podcast, make sure you're willing to stay in for the long term. Anyone can podcast, but make sure you're willing to stay in for the long term. That was a great thing. Consistency is a good thing. And another one, too, if you've got something that's working for you, you got a winning recipe. This came from Tom Hazard. He's got a client here who's done some great interviews, top of the line, ranks high in iTunes, and she wants to change. She wants to drop what she's doing to do something else. And he's like, no, don't drop what you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing, but just add another podcast or add another thing that's feasible enough. Because look at us. We technically have 3 and a smidget of a fourth podcast. Yes, we have these. The obviously Note Closer Show. We have Note Night in America. Thank you for those that listen and watch those replays. And of course, Note Camp, the replays from Note Camp 5.0 on there. And yes, we'll put the replays of Note Camp 6 up on iTunes as well once we get that all done. But we may have another one with Social Media Day, hopefully. And then maybe somebody will decide that we're going to do more episodes for the Fur Babies podcast.
Somebody will be.
There we go.
She'll be home for that.
That's good stuff. All right, guys. Well, hey, just wanted to give a big shout out. That's where we've been here. Having a lot of great stuff we'll be bringing back. But Eureka Mama, stay consistent. Just keep doing it. Just keep running. The biggest analogy I can give you guys is a few years ago, actually in 1978, off the coast of India is a sandbar. No life, desolate. And an Indian man started planting trees, started planting seedlings every day. He'd come home from work, plant a seedling, plant a little tree. Fast forward 20 some odd years, 30 years later, that sandbar has grown into a rainforest now, housing hundreds of new animals. That's the thing you need to look about marketing. Maybe you don't see immediate results, okay? Maybe you don't see it in the first year, 6 months or something like that. But if you stick with it, eventually over time, it'll feed you, it'll feed others around you, but from just being consistent and planting little seeds every day that continue to grow and prosper and flower and spread the word of what you're doing to your audience. So go out, make it happen, guys, and we'll see you all at the top. Bye.
a great night.
Yep.